because we have such a great same team mentality, we almost try to outserve. We just do what's for the good of the household. So when I was home today, there was no part of me that thought, well, this laundry, like, that's Ryan's job. You know, this can wait till he gets home, or these dishes, whatever. I just was doing things because I had availability, I had flexibility, and that's what we do.
This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 111. We are so glad that you're joining us today and making this investment in your relationship. Ryan, I think it's really cool that we are on show 111 because next week is our anniversary on 11/11.
11/11.
Which is kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Hey, you guys, we have a lot of great guests coming up for you. We want you to know about who we have on the docket. So starting next week, we will have Dr. Kim and Nancy Kimberling. Ryan, they have been mentors of yours. They haven't known that they were mentors,
right,
but unofficial mentors of yours for quite some time. Do you want to tell our listeners about Dr. Kim and Nancy?
Yeah, they're with the organization Awesome Marriage.
Mm-hmm.
They founded this really of just, having that fight for godly marriages and wanting marriages to flourish. And I followed them for years. It's just very, they put out like a daily email that I've subscribed to for a few years now, and they're just a great couple. We've had them on the show before. Just really fantastic couple. And I'm super excited for that.
They've been married for a very long time. They have a book called Love and Intimacy in the Second Half. Yeah. And it's just a great book too. So I'm excited to have them back. Such a very kind couple, but been in ministry for so long. Yeah. And this is their mission to pour into marriages. Yeah. So after that, we have Debby Wade coming back. She is a licensed sex counselor. So she works with sex addictions, helping couples to get better sex and intimacy in their marriage, and, pornography addictions, and just kind of that full gamut. And we've had her for probably 2 or 3 different episodes now. She also talked to us about how to have healthy conversations with your kids about sex and how to have that conversation. So we're having her back, and I actually don't know the specific topic we're talking to her about.
But she is going to be in the studio with us.
Yes.
Which is very exciting.
That'll be a first. Yes, she will be live in the studio with us for those 2 shows. We're going to do 2 with her. So we are still finalizing the show script, so stay tuned. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good with her. So
absolutely.
So Ryan, you wrote today's show. Tell us what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's sports related, isn't it?
Well, Michelle, as you know, I am a big sports fan, and I love this time.
Go Eagles!
Yes.
Go Red Sox!
I love this time of year. I feel like sports are kind of like football's kind of mid-season. Baseball, I think we'll be wrapping up probably by that time. Soccer playoffs, like all this fun stuff is happening, and I love it. It's like the best time of year for sports, in my opinion. Now, surprisingly though, like I don't watch a lot of sports, but one of the things I really like to do is I like to keep scores. I like to keep track of scores. I like to watch records, like what's a team's record? Like I like to keep track of all this stuff.
I feel like that's where our son gets at. Thomas can tell you, he's like an encyclopedia of sports scores.
Yeah.
I remember after the World Cup, he was like, he could tell you what teams got what goals in what round. You could say, hey, in round A or whatever, won when this team played this team. And he was like, oh, that was 4-3. And actually went to PK. It's 3-3. And then the PK, this and this and this.
Oh, yeah.
That's totally where he gets it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
He just goes to Alexa and just checks all the scores.
Yeah. I mean, and I think like while this is super fun to do, in sports, to keep track of records, keep track of wins and losses and all of these things and scores, I think we also do this in our marriage. And I think while it's fun to do in sports, it's a terrible thing to do in your marriage. So I thought we'd keep, we'd have this conversation today of are we keeping track of records? Are we keeping track of scores? Are we keeping these in our relationships, in our marriages?
Yeah. It's a great checkpoint for our listeners to just do a reality check. Are you keeping score? Maybe you don't even realize that you're keeping score. So we're going to talk about that and give you some tips and reasons why that's really an unhealthy thing. So okay in sports, not in your marriage. Yeah. Ryan, I love that. So I think about just different times when I feel like we do pretty good at this, but for your relationship, it could be something like the laundry is piled up and maybe you have a blow up with your spouse because you just did the last 5 loads of dishes in the dishwasher, or you hand washed everything and your spouse has not done any of the laundry, or maybe you alternate doing dishes and they've skipped the last 2 times, or whatever that looks like. That is a version of keeping score in your marriage. And I think that it can almost turn into a gotcha list. So we talk, Ryan, a lot about a cherish list. That comes from Ted Cunningham, pastor, author, comedian. He talks about, keeping this list of all the things that you love and adore about your spouse. But on the other hand, are you subconsciously keeping a gotcha list?
Yeah.
Because I think when those things pop up, hey, well, 6 months ago you did this, and well, last week you did that, it actually becomes more and more difficult to reconcile with. And what can happen, so let's play this out. So today I had a flexible schedule. So I was at our house and I did our sports clothes, which, oh my gosh, you guys, why does everything have to be line dried? We should just start buying things that can go in the dryer because.
Fair enough.
So I did 2 loads of sports clothes and like workout clothes. And then I hung all of them up I was actually almost late to my morning appointment because I walked by and I was like, oh my gosh, all those things are in the wash. And if I leave them there, they're going to get smelly and I'm going to have to rewash them. So I was like hanging them all on, the drying rack, and did a few loads of laundry and then the dressy clothes. And I feel like we just have so much laundry at our house. But so I did maybe 3-4 loads today. So if I were to come home and you came home which actually there are some dishes. I did some dishes too, but there are some left. So if I were to try to discuss that with you, hopefully we'd be able to have a conversation. Hey, love, I did a bunch of laundry today and I need to do this project tonight. I have a big day at work tomorrow, which I really do. I need to get my head kind of wrapped around that. Could you do the dishes? Or maybe you would know that and do that. And we simply talk about the issue.
Right.
But what happens for a lot of couples is that it's not just this current issue at hand, it's the last one and the last one and the last one. And Ryan, I don't know if you remember when we were serving in kids ministry, I would do a lot of training for the leaders. And one of my leaders actually brought this example of kind of how and why kids explode over seemingly nothing. And he used the example of a boiling pot. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That example is so brilliant. And he said he did a lot of work for his career with kids that had certain hardships at home. And they were in this care, kind of like a foster group home. And he said, the reason this happens is that it might not just be that a kid bumped into them and that's why they exploded. It's probably that's what made the water boil over. But below that was the fact that they're hungry. And below that, they haven't seen one of their parents for weeks. And below that, they, have maybe some other thing going on and some other things. So you start to layer it. And then the issue is no longer about just the fact that a kid bumped into him, where a lot of kids would be like, hey, no big deal, it's fine. It's an explosion because it's about that and 15 other things below it. And I think that's such a great picture of what we do in marriage, what can happen, a pitfall that people fall into when they keep score.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the pot boils over because you've been keeping score.
Right. Yeah. I think those are great examples, Michelle. And it really becomes this game, right? This dangerous game of I did, you did. Mm. And it just goes round and round, but nobody really wins, in that, in that thing. Like
you're always trying to not one up, but it's almost like you're always you're always keeping track. That's going to be exhausting too. I really don't, I don't think I even know who did what last. It's just if we see it needs to be done, we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think a time, and I mean, you may not remember this, but I remember a time like early in our marriage that I think this happened where, and it was a real like self-check for me, because like you were like, hey, I've done this like 5 times. Like, can you do this? And like, oh my goodness, I had a list, and I was keeping this list of like, this was a long time ago.
I like vaguely remember.
But like, I remember because it was like a self-check for me of like, I had this list of like, okay, I haven't done that, but I've done this, and this, and this. And like, I had this list of things like, and it like, you know, I think it happened, and I was like, ugh, like that just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I do. Now that you're saying that, I remember that, because in that moment, in a way, how it happened wasn't good. But I think my takeaway, once we talked it through, was sometimes what you see isn't always the full picture either. So I did learn to have empathy and to know that, like, I don't normally see you up at 6 a.m. taking our dog out or watering the plants, but it doesn't mean you're not doing things.
Sure.
So I think it's good for spouses to have a conversation about that, so they maybe know, but not in a
it was a total gotcha. Like
pointing
it was
finger.
and I think like that was a self kind of check for me of like, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that I had this like ready to bring out.
Yeah. Did it feel defensive?
Yes.
You got really defensive?
Oh, totally. Yeah. And it totally was like keeping track and keeping this score, keeping this record, you know, and it's just like, it hit me like in the moment of just like, wow, I don't know. And I think it's something that's dangerous because it just goes round and round. There's no like resolve. There's no winning in that situation. It just was an awkward like moment of just of real self-reflection. You know, the other thing, Michelle, that I think it does, and I'm gonna bring out a phrase I haven't said in a while. But I think it's really applicable.
Okay.
And it's something I said a long time ago, but you know, whatever you think about, you're going to be about.
Yes.
and I say that because if you're constantly like, if you constantly have a list in your head of wrongs, you know, of your spouse doesn't do this, you know what you're going to find?
You're going to see those things.
You're going to find them not doing something, and it's going to be like, you're going to lash out and you're going to be like, gotcha.
Yeah. Because
that's all that I'm looking for. That's all that I see. That's all I'm thinking about. That's what I'm going to be about.
Yeah. And,
you know, I think where obviously you'd want to be, Michelle, I'm so happy you said this, because like, while I acknowledge my spouse, I acknowledge you doing things like, that's amazing, all the laundry, you know, you said where like, I don't really know who did it last. We just do it because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I think it's also on the flip side of that, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, wow, you do so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
You're
incredible.
good at acknowledging that.
Like, it's so incredible how much you help like our family out and do these things. And like, because that's what I look for, and that's what I see.
I think we did have a conversation maybe a few months back where it was maybe a different version of this, where I think I told you, just so you know, love, like, I just feel really overwhelmed because there's so much that I don't know if you know what I'm doing. So Ryan, I wonder if maybe that if someone's feeling like they're needing to keep score, maybe do you think it's helpful for them to have a conversation with their spouse about maybe some of the things that they're doing. Like in this conversation, I think I told you, hey, I signed us up for parent-teacher conferences, and then I have to get snack ready, and on a daily basis, I'm reading all the school emails. Like, I don't know if you know that, but like I read all the school emails, I respond to them, I filter things in and out, I search for all the sports camps, summer camps. Like they're just in that season, there were a lot of things that I was doing behind the scenes that on the surface, you would see Thomas going here or there, but to like get the payments set up and all this, there was so much behind the scenes that I think you were like, oh my gosh, and just having that conversation. Hey, when the school sends an email, are you just assuming like I'm going to read them all and respond to all the things? Or, what is our plan there? And I think that was a helpful conversation because you gain more insight into, wow, you are doing a lot of things. Let me start doing this. I can do whatever.
Yeah, I think that's I think in how you frame that. I mean, I think that's how that conversation goes, right? Like if you come, to me, I think if you come to your spouse and you're like, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, like I'm doing all of these things and it's like I'm having a really hard time.
Yeah.
That's a totally different
vulnerable.
That's a totally different conversation than
here's my list of things.
Like I'm doing all these things. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like those are two different conversations. Totally different conversations.
I think the one comes from a posture of wanting to connect and to continue to be on the same team and find a solution, right? Like intimacy, you see, I'm going to be vulnerable and share how I'm feeling and all these things so that we can rebalance things. The other one is keeping score.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Ryan, I want to share this scripture. So 1 Corinthians 13:5 says, love keeps no record of being wronged. Love keeps no record of being wronged. And I think I hope this is helpful for our listeners, but think about what God has done for us. Like, aren't we so glad that when we mess up, God's not rolling down, I think of like, Christmas list or something. He's not rolling down a big long list of, oh yeah, Michelle, this again? Like, do you remember last week when this, and last year when this and this, and oh, what about 5 years when this, oh, and let's not forget this. Isaiah 43:25. I love that the Lord is working through the book of Isaiah so strong in our lives. I feel like we've talked about this so many weeks, but it's really great here. Isaiah 43:25. I am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake, and I will not remember your sins. It's fresh as white snow because when you are forgiven, then they are gone. And it's not that we can't learn from it, but God's not keeping a record of that.
I think that's a statement right there, Michelle. If God's not keeping it, why are we?
Who are we to do that?
Who
our
are
spouse,
we?
Right?
Yeah, who are we to do that? Absolutely. And again, like I understand there's hurt and there's, maybe trust needs to be rebuilt or some of those things. Like I fully understand that. But I do think it's hard to constantly revisit.
Yeah.
And hold that over your spouse. I think it's really hard to move forward in anything along those lines. If it's like, if I wronged you 5 years ago and, every time I do something that you don't like, that comes to the forefront of, do you remember what you did to me 5 years ago?
Right. Right. It's no longer about the issue. Like I said, that one issue becomes about the previous 15 or 20 or 50 issues. Yeah. And that's a really tough thing. So maybe for you, it's having a conversation with your spouse, getting that stuff out in the open, finding reconciliation and saying, hey, love, I am sorry. I still am mad about whatever, all that laundry I had to do for so long or whatever, just talking about it. And maybe you figure out a rhythm for your family, who's going to do what, but then giving each other grace and not keeping records of wrongs. And also I think for us, it's because we have such a great same team mentality, we almost try to outserve. We just do what's for the good of the household. So when I was home today, there was no part of me that thought, well, this laundry, that's Ryan's job. This can wait till he gets home, or these dishes, whatever. I just was doing things because I had availability, I had flexibility, and that's what we do. So I never think, it's his turn, because that just gets you into that kind of negative scorekeeping thinking.
Right. Yeah, I think
it's a practice thing.
Yeah, it's spot on, and that's something that we've grown into. That, I mean, obviously, of being just we sort of have gotten to the point where we step in when there's a need.
Or a season too. I had some adrenal fatigue, and you were making dinner every night all the time. And then on the other hand, when you had your injuries, that was me. And neither of us ever said, hey, I think we both kind of just stepped into that role. We saw the need and stepped up and did it. Great show, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Any
Michelle.
Final parting thoughts before we do our mystery question?
I don't. It's really important. I think some of this goes back to unforgiveness, and just not holding on to that. I mean, be quick to forgive. And I think it's so important to have these conversations. And again, if there's something there that's deep, or there's something that you're not comfortable with, find a person that you can have these conversations with, a counselor, pastor.
That's great.
Where you can have these conversations. Again, they're not going to be perfect right away. It's going to take time, but I think continually having those conversations with your spouse. Yeah,
you practice it and you get better at it, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Patrick, cue the mystery question song.
Mystery question time.
Mystery question.
Your turn, Michelle.
All right.
Yep.
Do you like these little love llamas I brought?
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah. Got them. Actually, they were from either my grandma or my great aunt Catherine, but this spring when my uncle had passed, I had a chance to get just a couple of little keepsakes and got these cute little Peruvian llamas.
Yeah, they're cool.
But I brought them since it's our anniversary next week, and there's 2 of them. So how cute is that?
Very.
Great.
I love it.
Ryan, would you rather always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early? Oh. Easy. Let me just answer for you.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I mean, it's not there's not even a question.
No.
It's 20 minutes early.
Or if you
could put 30 minutes early.
Little Ryan growing up going to church is 30 minutes early. So if you get a flat tire, you can change it and still be early to church.
Yeah, exactly right. What about you, Michelle?
I think if I was socially acceptable, I would be 10 minutes late. But the more that I've grown just as a person and as a leader and because of you,
Right.
You know what? Sometimes I think if people are late to meetings, I'm like, okay, 10 people here times 3 minutes we all waited, that's 30 minutes times whatever. I do try to be early. I'm pretty good at it. I have coffee with my friend Sarah once a week, and I feel like we're always both running a little late, but we try to keep each other updated so we know. Yeah. It comes down to valuing the person and their time, but I've gotten pretty good at being early. So I would rather be 20 minutes early and be prepared for the thing and just, answer emails while I'm waiting than late, because that is stressful.
Yes.
We don't need more stress.
Yes. So you could put any time on that early and I would take it.
And just read or do whatever.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep. Agree. Even today getting here, we're like, we can't keep Patrick waiting.
Right.
I could tell you were getting anxious when the stoplight, it was like 3 green arrows and we couldn't get through.
Yeah, exactly
right. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the Celebrate MarriageCast. We hope that you have learned to stop keeping score in your marriage. And we are so appreciative of you joining us. We have marriage resources at Celebrate.church/marriage. We hope you have a great week.
Have a great week.